Michelle is a musician with albums released as Everyone Except Me and artist behind the post-apocalyptic webcomic Stray Cats. She's kind, a bit shy, and furiously creative. Henrique is a filmmaker with over 24 films and TV shows as producer, director, and occasionally host. He also released a couple of music albums. He's bombastic, larger than life, and tenacious almost to a fault. Together, they've been best friends for a decade. This show is awkward.
So I know there's a lot of things going on in the world, but I think we need to talk about one of the most important things.
Yeah.
Which is I have taken my oral care to the future.
Really?
Yeah. I used to just have an electric toothbrush, which is pretty cool because it's like, I don't brush my teeth. I have a robot for that. But I tried using a Waterpik. I don't like them.
Yeah, I have
like
one and
Waterpiks.
it kind of scares me.
Yeah, I don't get like what the benefit over floss really is, other than that it's more messy and more time consuming and scarier.
Yeah, my problem is, and I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but I have a very little mouth and I can't reach the back of my teeth. It just doesn't work. And also, like, they're like real close together. So my dentist was like, you should get a Waterpik. So the benefit is I could probably clean my teeth with it, even though it's terrifying.
I don't want you to drown, you know?
It's okay. I'll just drink it instead of drowning. I'll make sure it goes down the right one.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So, well, I couldn't do my Waterpik. It was just such a mess, and I was like, I'm not getting much benefit. Unlike you, I have possibly too large of a mouth. Aside from the fact that I needed a palate expander to fit all my fucking teeth in there. So I advanced mouthwashes. I started using a mouthwash that reminds me, not in taste or anything, but it reminds me of epoxy. It's two separate chambers and they mix together before you put it in your mouth to activate.
Wow.
And they guarantee you 12 hours with no bad breath.
Wow, just like a drain cleaner.
It's exactly like a drain cleaner, though. Like, it really is.
Yeah.
And so far, so good. I don't love the way it tastes. But I'm a person who's like, give me, like the yellow Listerine. I'm a very bad person. And I like that stuff. But if not that, then give me the minty Listerine that still burns like a lot.
Yeah.
I hate Scope because Scope is like, hey, we're going to make sure your mouth's healthy. Okay. It's going to taste pretty okay. And I'm like, shut up. If I accidentally rinse with my Listerine too long, my gums go numb.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Okay. That means it's working. What it's doing, I don't know, but it's working. But this stuff, I have a weird, I don't know, I think you and I have talked about it just, in general, back when we used to be friends before we did the show together. And I have like an obsessive compulsive thing about my breath. Like, I don't like to go anywhere ever without like breath spray or breath strips. And I brush my teeth, not constantly, but I definitely keep to oral upkeep very well. And anything I can find that will reduce bad breath is important. Also, I have been told specifically by close friends, literally friends who are close physically to me, that I don't have bad breath when I believe that I do.
Okay.
Like when the way I'm tasting my tongue, I'm like, oh, I must have bad breath. And like, I don't smell anything. And I'm like, well, you are not to be trusted. I'm going to go brush my teeth now with my robot. I'm going to put some peroxide in that Waterpik and finally it'll be worth it. Get that bleach, get that whitening. But yeah, so I'm now rinsing my mouth with this super future, very similar to foaming liquid Drano kind of thing. And it was a little expensive. but I wanted to try it because I'd heard that the reviews are insane, that like because it activates when you rinse, that it just completely kills bad breath. It leaves an odd taste in my tongue for like an hour. Not bad, but not good.
Yeah.
And, but I think it does. I think it completely eliminates my bad breath. And one of the reasons I want to absolutely eliminate my bad breath is so that I stop having to constantly disinfect wipe my, my pop screen on my microphone.
Oh,
I talk into this mic. Sometimes it's, 3 hours a week, 4 hours a week. I think that's a lot of mic work.
yeah, it is.
And if I don't brush my teeth before I do it every time, and even if I do, it starts to smell.
I'm sorry.
Well, I have a lot of passion in the things I'm saying. So saliva and such.
Yeah.
I read a disgusting, anytime you have any kind of hobby or anything, you have to read through other people in a message board you'll never join.
Yeah.
I've done that a million times. Like reading message boards for like video editors or microphone owners. And I'm like, I'm never saying anything here because I'm not.
It's too bad, I remember you could help,
No, that's not why I'm there. I'm only there to be helped. I take, I don't give.
Oh.
But these people know way more than me, obviously, because they're the ones providing all the help. Mm-hmm. But no, so I was reading about like what you do to keep your pop screen clean, because my pop screen is metal mesh, so you got to clean it.
Yeah.
And but one guy had said that he runs a recording studio, and that the metal mesh on his main like hero vocal mic starts to smell like used dental floss after about 3 days. And I was mortified by that description alone.
Yeah.
There used to be a joke when I would play like live music shows, which was never smell a microphone. Mm-hmm. That was like a consistent thing. Like, don't ever smell a microphone.
Yeah. Well,
you won't be happy.
Don't worry. In the future, no one's going to share microphones anymore. So
it's true. They're it's true. So because you have like a pantyhose style windscreen, right? A fabric windscreen.
As we were talking, I was just looking at it and going like, what is this? And yeah, it is literally some sort of like tight material. It's like pantyhose. Yeah. And so if it ever like gets messed up, which it's got a little bit of like a run. I could just stick a new piece on it and be fine.
It's funny because I had before I switched microphones, my windscreen totally had a run in it too.
Yeah.
And my first windscreen ever on a microphone, I made it myself with an embroidery hoop.
Oh,
and
there you go.
Pantyhose for real.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, looking back, that cost me $8.
Yeah.
So I worked like hours, and the hardest part was how to mount it. It was basically impossible. Like that was a really difficult thing. So I spent $8 so that I didn't have to spend $13 at Guitar Center.
I understand though, and you did a good job.
I did. That lasted like 3 months before I had to just go buy one at Guitar Center.
Yeah.
There have been many times in my life I feel like I put an immense amount of effort into saving money and really just spited myself.
I've totally done that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because it's not just about there's it's like a mental illness about saving money. Mm-hmm. Once you're good at saving money, it is very hard to break that trend to occasionally be human.
Yeah.
I've been living that and experimenting with that for the last few years because I started having more better days than worse days financially. Mm-hmm. And it became really hard because my mother to this day laughs because I'll be like, I did really well and I got paid a bunch of money to do something. And then I'll be like, I guess I should celebrate. And I'll go out and buy a $24 Blu-ray and a $7 dinner. Yeah. And my mom's like, this is exactly how you celebrated when you were like completely dirt broke.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fine. I'll get a $12 dinner, So, and I mean, you've always been very good at saving money.
I guess.
So you're cheap is what I'm trying to say.
I am
You're
cheap.
cheap.
I'm really cheap. So
I know. It's okay.
I don't know if it is, but at least it's a thing that I have.
You're good at it. I mean, you're good at it. I mean, I've been struggling with like, I don't know, like the stress balance of like, if you tear yourself apart this much for this amount of money, how much of that money should you enjoy in order to convince yourself you should keep going? And that's definitely like a hard line to ride. I'm not sure what the answer is.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. I bought some sort of weird aloe drink at the H Mart today, like a big thing of it, like a 2-liter, whatever the hell thing.
Yeah.
And it was really stressful to buy it because I was like, I really need something that tastes good right now. I'm kind of sad. And I still don't feel super good about buying it because I have iced tea that I made that cost me like pennies on the dollar. I don't need really good mango flavored aloe drink from the H Mart.
It's like, and it sounds funny, but like that's a real struggle. I know it is.
Yeah, it's stupid.
It is stupid too. But things can be real and valid and also stupid. Really stupid. That's really important to the human experience.
Yeah.
It's like I always get so mad. People have such. I hate using that third person people. Many people that I've met have such a finite understanding of how to take a word. Like somebody will tell you all about a thing. And even no matter how gently you put it, you may reference like that it's a dumb thing. And they get super mad, and I have to be like, I like tons of dumb things. I don't consider dumb exclusive to bad.
Yeah.
I love Stripped to Kill. That is not a good movie. It is a stupid. That's okay. There are stupider movies I like, to be honest. Yeah. I just like using that example because that title is so funny. But there are worse examples of things that are not good by any major definition that I really enjoy. And I can call it dumb. I can be like, I like this dumb little movie. I love it. I like this dumb little book. I like this, I mean, you haven't been to my house in a while, but like, I have posters for some of the most worthless movies of all time. And they're high value to me. They matter to me. They're my favorite thing. And it's funny though, like, because as I say that though, I'll be on eBay and I'll be like, oh, I want this Scanner Cop poster. And I'll be like, fuck you, $16. Never fucking mind. I'm like, yes, I love it, but it's not worth anything.
Yeah.
It's not worth $9 more.
Yeah.
But then sorry, I'm just laughing because it's completely true because I'm sitting in my office just surrounded by, actually, my office is a bad example because there are a couple of actually good, like, good examples of like collectible posters. Like I have a few posters in here that actually might fetch actual money on eBay and then a few that no one would ever want but me.
That makes sense.
But in the rest of my house, it's almost strictly the ones no one would want but me.
Yeah. Well, that's
because that's how I roll. So, but no, so yeah, saving money, it's hard. I mean, it's hard saving money. Once you get into the mindset, that's not that hard, but it's hard to then spend money.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how to compare the way you're cheap versus the way I'm cheap. Because I lucked into something, which is that I invest in my own business, and my business is a thing that I generally like.
Yeah.
So if I spend $2,000 on a camera, it feels like I'm spending $2,000 on myself, but that's totally just a tax write-off for my business so that I can make money. It's not actually for me. It just feels that way, which is a great way to abuse myself as labor.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. It's, It's weird. In fact, that's kind of like the thing that I do. One of the things I do to appease myself when I start to get really sick and tired of everything is I'll be like, yeah, but what if you have better equipment to do your work? And it works. I'm like, oh boy, a Macintosh that I basically only use to work. I'm the luckiest man in the world. Meanwhile, it sounds like I'm describing some horrifyingly abusive boss, and I am. It's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. People often say, like, it must be nice to be your own boss. And I'm like, I don't know. My boss is often telling me, like, you sleep too much and you're gaining weight. And it's like, I feel like that's overstepping bounds of most bosses.
Yeah. I mean,
my
you're
boss
also...
will wake me up in the middle of the night and be like, you should be getting this done.
Yeah. You're also your own HR, though. So you could talk to you about that if it gets too bad.
I've tried.
Yeah, you don't care.
Yeah, the HR department's kind of checked out.
Yeah.
The HR department is stretched so thin from having to be the management and the workforce and the HR department. It's incredibly schizophrenic.
Yeah, it sounds bad.
In fact, so it's funny. Right before we recorded, and I will say, instead of doing the thing where we just completely deny it, I just don't fucking feel like talking about the protests and the riots and stuff. I don't fucking feel like it. So I'm just saying that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm sorry. I'm just watching potentially maybe a drug deal go down. So I'm sorry.
Nice.
I'm distracted in front of my fucking house.
See, I know. Do you know that I know your anger?
Yeah, maybe it's not. It just looks really suspicious.
I feel like the ultimate. Oh, sorry, please.
No. It's okay.
No, you were going to say usually something. Go ahead.
Usually, like, I don't remember what I was going to say. So
I was just going to say, I feel like it would be the ultimate stereotype if the only thing that enraged you about the drug deal was that you were like, that was a horrible price. You could have done better.
I could go up to that person and be like, how much did you charge?
Yeah. Did they even haggle?
Yeah, we can do better than this. Come on, I'm going to make you rich.
I'm sorry. I mean, I had to watch a drug deal happen in my front lawn.
Well, that was like in my front lawn too, except it was in a car. I don't know if that's really what happens, but it was just weird to have somebody walk up to a car, not get in the car, lean into the car, and then they walk away and the car drives away.
Yo, man, you looking for some craft singles?
I wish. I'll take some craft singles. Please come back.
Unfortunately, and I don't live in a rough area at all. I mean, neither do you.
Neither do I.
But like, the time that guy was dealing drugs, I mean, it was a drug deal. Like, I watched him hand him something, and I watched money exchange hands clear as day from my front window. Yeah. So luckily, that guy seems to be gone. I think that either he got dumped by his girlfriend who he was living with in her parents' house, hence why they're in such a nice neighborhood, I guess. Or they both moved out together. I don't know, because I don't think I've seen the daughter in a while either. So maybe they ran off together. You know what? I hate that I become my mother in that way, but because I'm just like, I don't see him around anymore. Good riddance. We need good neighbors.
Exactly.
None of this bullshit. But no, so that's all. I figured I would just come out and say, like, I'm personally not interested in talking about the riots. I'm exhausted emotionally and psychologically, so I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, no, I understand. I am as well. I am really close to where a lot of stuff's happening, and I'm just tired. I've had a really bad couple of days with people that I know, being really impacted. I know. So yeah, but that's it. That's all I'm going to say. That's fine.
Yeah, no. So the only thing left to say about it is that's why you and I are just going to talk about other things in order to get enjoyment for ourselves.
Okay.
Because that's important. Like I just had a really good time talking for 17 minutes about mouthwash and being cheap. That was nice.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I mean, if we had something really important to say, we'd say it, and we don't. So I'm just gonna, that's all. So, let's pull up a quiz. No, I'm just kidding. I got a bunch of great emails about the last episode where we were doing the quizzes, and they were all weird, and one of them didn't even have a conclusion. And then the other one, we had to restart it, and it was different questions.
Yeah. Wait, that was the one that didn't have a conclusion.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
I guess the mind tries to forget pain. But so this was talking about being cheap and talking about being your own HR and your own workforce and your own management is a perfect transition, because as you and I are recording this right now, people will be listening to this on Monday. This is the Wednesday prior to when it published. Tomorrow will be the 6-year anniversary of when I started working full time for myself.
Yeah. Omedeto.
What'd you say?
I think I said congratulations.
It sounded like, but you said it in Japanese?
Yeah.
Okay. For a second, you do realize that you say a word that sounds sort of like gibberish to someone who doesn't speak Japanese. And then I go, what? And you said, I said congratulations. You're making me think I'm having a stroke. Thanks for that. I'm sitting here like, I'm hearing gibberish when people are saying normal words. Is my nose bleeding? What's happening? But thank you for that, for all of that. But it's a crazy thing, because I'm kind of out of milestones until I hit 10 years.
What
because
about
my first 7 could be a milestone. Well, I guess my point is that like being out of milestones almost creates new milestones. Cause like, I guess it's hard to explain, since since I was never anticipating my 6th year, I'm more surprised by it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I'm less prepared, because I didn't start thinking like, I'm going to make it to my 6-year point. I worked really hard to make it to my 5-year point.
Right.
And there was the point when I reached 3.5 years when it became the job I had the longest ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the big milestones were 1 year and then 2 year, but then the 3 year wasn't a milestone, but it was the 3.5, because that meant that this was the longest I had been employed. Of anything. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that's really good. So I have a milestone for you now, because you said that.
Okay.
Year 8 would be the milestone, because that would be as long as I've ever had a job. 8 years.
Okay.
So that would be pretty cool.
That would be cool. Well then you and I are going to celebrate on 8 years.
Okay. Maybe if we're not dead.
Even if we're dead, we are.
Okay, that's fine.
That's how all great like legends start, is like a promise that's still kept. Oh,
and we still celebrate on every year. And
on that winding road.
Yes.
On a night just like this one. But no, so it's been wild. Thanks to everything going on. And hey, for once, I'm not just saying that to not say COVID-19. I literally mean everything going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of everything going on, I haven't gotten to spend as much time reflecting as I would like. Usually I'm big on reflecting when the year comes. So I got fired unceremoniously and suddenly from my job. And it was on June 4th. And the reason that I'll always remember it is because it's easy to remember the 4th of June, because it makes me think of the 4th of July.
Sure.
So I jokingly call June 4th Independent Day.
I like that.
Because that's the day that I became independent.
Yeah.
So I have not had a boss. Although the joke is, people are like, wow, what's it like to not have a boss? And I'm like, I have like 30 something bosses. I work for so many different people.
Yeah.
It's, but you can fire your bosses when you have a bunch of bosses.
Yeah.
You can be like, all right, in the last few years, since things have been going better, I have been telling people to screw off. Because I do, the main source of my income is making movies and all that entails. whether it's making money from a distributor or selling copies of my movies on my website, or, making streaming deals, license deals, whatever, or selling movies outright, whatever. That's how I make the bulk of my money. And then I make ends meet with some freelance stuff. Videography, commercials, whatever comes about. But, I've had a lot of those people because being a videographer for commercials and industrial videos can be a nightmare because those people do not know what they want and they don't really care to tell you. The only people worse than those people are musicians. Hey, brother, I want to have a music video. Cool. So, what's your budget like? Like, oh man, we can't afford much. So they make me an offer that's really low. So I tell them, because I do want to work with people. Mm-hmm. I tell them like, okay, for the amount of money you can afford, here is what I can do. And it'll be something like, I can film one day. So like plan it out so that 1 8-hour day is our filming for the video. Mm-hmm. And then I can edit it, I can edit it the next day. And then as long as you don't need any major revisions, you're done paying for it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I hope it does, because that's how I've been talking to clients for like 6 years.
Everyone's been like, we didn't understand that, but we didn't want to tell him. So.
We didn't want to hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
But so that's how I deal with it. And people who have like an element of business experience or just experience in general, like people who've been in bands for a long time, they generally jump on that. Because it's like, oh man, you're actually telling us like what you can do for what we can afford versus just telling you what my price is. Yeah. I had one guy, he offered me so little money. I told him, I was like, well, look, it's a music video. So if it can be simple enough that I can come to wherever and in 3 hours be done, I'll do it. I just don't want to spend a whole day for this amount of money. It's just too little.
Sure.
But here comes the next part. The next part of that whole thing is then they go like, oh man, that sounds great. Thanks, brother. Okay. So what's the music video going to be about? What? Do you have any ideas for your music video? No.
Yeah.
I might not even have known of your band until today. Like, what? And I kid you not, then they'll be like, well, if you could come up with something cool, blah, 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 blah. So then I have to tell them, I'm like, well, look, we may have agreed on X amount of dollars, but if you want me to write your video, then I'm going to need more money. Like, you're going to have to pay me for writing it. And then they're like, well, can't you just kind of like make something up? And I'm like, what? No, what? The biggest problem I've had is people coming to me and saying like, I want to make a video, and they have no idea what it's going to be. So what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't have anything to point a camera at.
You just do it. You just like, they just think you're just going to come and do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. Then they try not to pay you. They try not to pay you when you just show up and then you film whatever they're doing, and then it's not as good as they want. Yeah. They try not to pay you. And then you have to do that thing where you show up at their work and all smiles looking for your money. And you gradually raise your voice louder and louder as you're talking to them in front of their coworkers about the money they owe you. I'm so glad. When I started, a lot of my job was I'm doing air quotes, collections. Now my collections is mostly like emailing and saying like, what is the status of that check? Mm-hmm. With real businesses. But there was a time when it was like calling people again and again, and then and then opening a new Gmail account so that I could get another free trial of phone spoofing. Mm-hmm. That I can call them with another phone number. Oh my God. Yeah. To be honest, I probably don't talk about this very much with nearly anybody because it's so negative.
Yeah.
But like, people don't want to pay. They don't want to pay. Sometimes. In fact, one of the worst experiences I ever had in my entire life as a videographer was I got hired by a guy who I'd worked for before, who was hired by a guy who was running for Senate.
Okay.
And he was trying to become a senator. Mm-hmm. And I kid you not, he wanted to do a kind of a traditional walk and talk. He wanted to be walking and the camera's following him and he's talking directly to the camera. And the guy he hired didn't have the stuff to be able to do that.
Okay.
For something like that, there's a plethora of equipment you could use to do it, and he didn't have any of it. I happen to have the equipment, both the microphone equipment and the camera mounts to do it.
Right.
So he calls me up and we negotiate a price, and it was not a lot of money. It was probably a couple $100, maybe $300. I mean, and that's for me to operate a piece of equipment that costs like $1,500 for a day. So, I come out and I trust this guy. And I come out and I film the guy's walk and talk. We have to do it and the other thing is, I mean, it's hard work. We had to do it like 9 times. My back is killing me. I'm holding this huge heavy rig trying to get the shot, and I have to get it perfect too, because not all of those takes were him screwing up, although most of them were, to be frank. And he was just this snooty friggin' well-off white dude. And he was doing the thing. He was saying the stuff that everybody's saying. He was saying the free college, forgive student loans, free healthcare, all this stuff. Now, whether you believe in that stuff or not is irrelevant to this story. Not just you, but I mean anybody listening, but especially you, Michelle.
Me. Yeah.
But he's saying all of the kind of the keywords of like a Democrat.
Yeah.
And the best part is he talked about like worker negotiation. He talked about not only worker negotiation, but like being able to collaborate on negotiation, how workers need to be paid very fairly, and blah 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 blah. Well, everything went totally fine. We got it in the can, and him and his campaign manager, who were both weaselly people. It's almost like it doesn't matter whether you want to be a liberal or a conservative. If you really want to be a senator, there's a high probability I ain't gonna like you. So we're after we're packing everything up, they're asking how it was. And my response is exactly what it should be, which is it looked great and it sounded great. It was in focus the entire time. You were centered the entire time, and I could hear you loud and clear on the microphone.
Yeah.
And then he goes, yeah, but like what I said, did it like connect?
With
what? I looked at him, I don't know what you mean. And he says, like, with you, like, did you hear the message? And I was like, I literally said, I don't know. Like, that was my response. I don't know. But then he was like, no, I really want to know. And I looked at him and I was like, I have no desire to talk about politics on the job unless you really want me to.
Yeah.
So he said, no, I want to understand. So.
Oh no.
I did not go nuts, but I told him, I was like, to be frank, my worldview is very opposed to yours. That's all. Okay. And he was like, why? So I was like, because of, these reasons. And he was like, well, those don't really make sense to me. And I'm like, that's fine. Cause you're a Air Force contractor and I am a small business owner. We don't have the exact same life.
Yeah.
But then like he said like, well, wouldn't you like to be paid better? And I said, well, you guys are the ones who negotiated my rate down. Like I do want to be paid better, but I wasn't a prick about it. My point was that I was willing to work for it, therefore it was fair. Yeah. If they said, well, we'll give you this, and I say, okay, then it's fair. Yeah. That was my point. Yeah. So he was like, okay, and we agreed to disagree kind of thing. Well, he never paid for that commercial.
What a piece of shit.
I mean, like a total fucking piece of shit. He never paid for the commercial. And when I say he never paid for the commercial, I mean that the guy who hired me, who was a videographer who spent, like, I sincerely, especially at this juncture, I do not look for work in that realm. Like, I do not put out ads looking for commercial work. It just kind of finds me because I've been doing it so long. So if I know somebody who needs a commercial, I'll go do it. Yeah. Yeah. And that works for me because I don't have the time anyway. It's a whole other business. Yeah. But the guy I was working for, that was his thing, is he worked security, and my friend, he worked security and then ran this business on the side, trying to grow it enough to quit his job and do this full time. Sure. So I don't know why he did this, but he let him have the video before he paid. Like, he sent him the video and was like, is this good? And the guy was like, yeah. And then the guy posted it on YouTube. Yeah. The candidate guy posted it on YouTube and used the video and never paid the guy.
That's not good. That's not what you're supposed to do.
Well, it gets worse because the friend that I did the job for, who I am still friends with, relatively speaking, when he told me what happened, I was like, okay, well, do you want me to go collect our money? Was my first question. Because I'm ready. This guy is some lily white professional, works as an Air Force contractor. I'm ready to walk into his office place with the polished marble desktops and say, can I speak to so-and-so? I'd like to have a conversation about the money he owes me. And then when he walks out, put my hand on his shoulder, big smiles. Hey, pal, I've been trying to reach you, but you've just been hard to get a hold of. Probably real busy, huh? Yeah. You got your checkbook? And then you go, I'm just kidding. I don't believe a check from you. I need cash. You got any cash? So, sir, you have to leave. All right, I'll just leave this invoice right here. I've done stuff like that because you can.
Yeah.
But you can. The scariest thing that ever happened to me collecting money was just being told they were going to call the police.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I'll leave. But I told the guy who owed me the money, I was like, but I can just keep coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And then leaving when you call the police.
Yeah.
And they'll never arrest me because I left when you ask.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, I could file a restraining order. I'm like, that's a great idea. We should go to court because you owe me money. And that was the end of that.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, you're right. Court's a great idea because you owe me money. So I'll see your restraining order and raise you a civil lawsuit.
Yeah. So,
anyway, this was not the direction I was planning on this conversation going, but it's perfect. So yeah, he never paid me. He never paid the guy, which means I never got paid.
Right.
And then it got worse because as a business owner, it's complicated. Being a business owner is really complicated. And when he said he begged me not to go collect the money. And
why?
Because he thought he could get it through white people means. That's the way I'm going to say it. White people means. Because I would just go do it the way I learned in the streets I grew up on. So he thought he could get the money, and I was mad because I was perfectly willing to go and rustle up that money. Mm-hmm. Totally willing. Yeah. Because the secret to the reason you don't want to screw over freelance workers is we have nothing better to do than fuck with you. Let that be known. Don't rip us off or we will spend weeks coming at you. Because you might be the only job we'd had for a half a month. Mm-hmm. So I never get paid. The video gets published. I did say something in the comments of the YouTube video.
Yeah, might as well.
Which I believe the whole thing has been taken down. Believe it or not, he did not win a seat in the Senate. I know, it's shocking, especially with that great video of him walking through Germantown, Ohio.
I mean, he does seem like he's got what it takes, though. So.
You know what? Shit. He should. I'm surprised he didn't. That wasn't in the video. It was like, not only am I dedicated to being a leader, but I didn't pay the people who are filming me. I ripped them off. So I can be a politician. Oh my God. God, if only that weren't so true. That's so true that I'm like, my feelings are hurt.
Oh.
Now I'm like, I wonder if that video is still up. Because if it is, I should really tell that guy he's a piece of shit.
You should now go and get the money from him.
I should. Well, so that's the other point is, so he doesn't pay the guy, but then my friend who hired me, he's not very happy when I explained to him that I wasn't hired by the senator guy. Mm-hmm. I was hired by him, and it is he who guarantees my pay.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but that's the truth. If you fucking say that you're going to pay me for my work, it doesn't matter what stopped you from paying me. You're the one who didn't pay me.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't like I'm going to kick your ass or anything. I was just like, dude, but you're the one who owes me the money.
Yeah.
And, yeah, sorry.
I've had plenty of times where I've like played shows where, like away shows on tour where like someone's been like, oh, we'll get you money. And then we don't make any money. And then they like go to the bank and get me money because they told me they weren't going to give me money. Yeah. So. No,
that's happened. That's happened to me at like screenings, like theatrical screenings out of town, where like they just kind of they're like, yeah, only this many people came, so I'm going to cover the difference and make sure you leave with $80. You know, and you know, you don't know how much the difference was, but it was probably $30 or $40. I mean, they put their own money where their mouth is, and that's important. You know, it's important to have that level of I don't know, whatever the opposite of a politician is.
Yeah, the good thing.
the good thing. But no, so that was the end of he and I. Really, we're still friends, but I won't ever work for him again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand that.
And we also had an issue where another job that he hired me for, they didn't pay him everything he was promised. So he was paying me what he owed me in installments, and the installments just stopped. And because I know this sounds stupid and maybe I'm the passive aggressive asshole, but I didn't collect because he was my friend. So my feelings were just hurt that he forgot he owed me like another $100. Yeah. So I was like, you probably need this more than I do, but I see where you stand.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is the last 6 years have been a laugh a minute.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Good job.
but no, so yeah, that's really what, the kind of things that happen. If he had just let me collect that guy's money, man, I mean, I would have got it. Yeah. I would have got it. My mother used to tell me these like terrifying stories about being a debt collector in the 80s when there was like no regulation. Wow. About like calling people pretending to be family members and stuff. Wow. Or it might have been the 70s. Oh yeah, that used to be allowed.
Wow. So, I didn't know it wasn't still allowed, actually. I don't know what's allowed.
But no, so but to go back to the music video thing, I think one of the worst experiences ever with a music video was a band was like, hey man, what's up? We want you to do a video for us. And I'm like, okay. And I knew these guys a little bit, and I'm like, okay, what do you have in mind? And they're like, honestly, we don't have any idea other than, we want it to be about a werewolf. And I'm like, okay. And I quote him like a super low price. But that's just for me to show up and film and then edit it together. That's it. I'm not writing it. But then he tries to tell me, he's like, I appreciate that you're willing to work with us on the budget. And he's like, and to make it worth your while, like you can do anything you want. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, anything you want, like any cool thing you want to do in the video, you can do. So, creative freedom. He said the fucking phrase, creative freedom. My life is creative freedom. Creative freedom is wonderful and exhausting and terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm being hired to do something for cash money, I want a box to work in so that I can start working.
I totally understand. Yeah.
Imagine if they were like, you'll figure out how groceries get to people.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, well, or also but I've gotten a lot of some like art jobs like that, where it's like just do the thing, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just do the thing, I guess.
Well, my rule of thumb is if you're willing to trust somebody who says like just do whatever you want, for lack of a better term, if they have anything to say about it, they can just suck a dick up till they hiccup. That's the way I feel. So, I don't feel like being all American and cagey. I offered to do this. This was 7 years ago. This was before I was full time, I think. I think it was 7 years ago. I said for like $250, I would shoot the video for a day and then edit it the next day. That's really cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, by those standards, that was pretty cheap. By now standards, that wouldn't even be an offer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it just wouldn't. My camera's too expensive. My time is too valuable, Michelle. My time is very valuable.
It is valuable.
Oh, you meant it. That made me feel nice. But no, so I offered to do this for dirt cheap. Oh, and then he's debating with me about the makeup, for the werewolf. Cause I'm like, okay, well, I got a guy who I know can do it, but he needs like $80. And he's like, oh man, that's a lot of money. And I'm like, you're the one who wants a werewolf. Let's just get rid of the werewolf then.
Yeah.
So he negotiates the werewolf down. So then I come up with this awesome concept for a werewolf, like a female werewolf that is a nun that gets bitten by a werewolf and goes crazy at this house party.
Okay.
I thought it was a really cool concept.
Yeah.
I had an actress in mind. My idea was that she would be in a nun's habit, and then the bushes would be shaking and, something bites her. And then she runs into this house to seek refuge and there's a house party going on and she pulls the habit off and like underneath she's wearing, just kind of like plain black underwear and like hair is already growing all over her body.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's this werewolf. I thought it would be really cool.
Yeah.
So I tell them what we're going to do, and I'm sure you know what happens next.
They said, yay, and everything was good.
You're very close. They said they didn't like it.
Damn. But they said you could do whatever you wanted to do. Anything that you wanted to do.
I know.
Creative freedom.
And then they said that one of the reasons they didn't like it is they were worried that it would be like, I guess for lack of a better term, misogynistic. And I was like, and my response was, wait, you're saying that it's not empowering to women, that literally I'm showing a woman with body hair killing everyone. I think that's the opposite. And that wasn't on purpose. I was just picking like interesting visuals, and there was an actress I really like working with who would do great with the role. And I thought the way to make the werewolf super interesting is if it's like this woman who's kind of sexy, but she's gonna end up being like a complete friggin' werewolf.
Yeah.
But so they said no. They were like, we don't like that. And I was like, okay, but I mean, I was promised creative freedom. And he was like, yeah, but not like that.
What? I don't understand.
So I told him, I was like, well, I'll be happy to write it to your specification. Just send me $1,000. Yeah. So, and he never responded ever. He didn't even say no. He just never responded ever.
That's not nice.
This is a local guy who was like, hey brother, you can have creative freedom, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So there you go. But that was one of the last times I was interested in doing a music video, unless I was really, truly very close with the people.
Sure.
That, like I did an awesome music video for Jasper the Colossal where they were just playing in the snow, and that was their idea. They were like, we just want to like play in the snow. So we filmed this awesome video with like lots of super slow motion of like sledding and throwing snow in the air and hitting each other with snowballs. And that was, not only was that a great video that's like fun to watch, but I had an immense amount of fun filming it.
Cool.
So anyway, my point is, hey brother, do you want to do a music video for us? We don't know what it's going to be, and we don't want to pay you at all. But could you be the complete and utter creative force behind this video? Thanks, brother. I keep adding brother because I guess I worked too long in professional wrestling. So hey, brother. There's a skit online that's a wrestling business translator. Mm-hmm. And the big joke is that like you enter a sentence into it and then it tells you what it actually means. So it's like when a wrestler says, I'll be right on time. When a wrestler says, I'll be there just in time. Here's what he really means. And they all start with, hey brother. Hey brother, the Marks are buying me drinks at the hotel. So I'll be there 2 hours, or I'll be there 2 matches before mine. Stuff like that. It was killing me. So. But But no, so I guess to bring it all home though, this for as exhausting as the last 3 years have really been for me. Because, 3 years ago I was working on a television series called Boggy Creek, the series, which was very fun and rewarding, but very stressful. It just seemed like everything was against it. And, I felt like I was fighting a war to get it done. And if you're listening to this, it's streaming on Amazon Prime and you should friggin' watch it. But, that was really hard. Then the next year was the Amazon money apocalypse where they cut most of my movies off their service and hurt my income a lot. But I survived that. And this year was looking pretty good. And then whatever. So I'm trying my best, but I will say that I've never been more fulfilled in my life. I've never had as much fun in my life. The trades are worth it. I will say they are worth it. There are days where I'm literally like, what else could I do? Luckily, the answer is you have no skills, no way out. So, before we go, I wanted to ask you, because I was very curious, because I was going to initially tell like the story of the day I got fired. From my day job. Do what?
Sorry, we got away from that.
Oh, that's okay. But now I'm wondering, like, what? I would almost be more curious about your perspective.
Of what?
Of the day I got fired, because I think you were the second person I called.
Yeah.
You don't remember?
No,
oh, I knew it.
I remember it happened, and I remember it was a really big deal. But I was not happy because I thought that was really bad that they fired you.
Well, you're probably, the reason that you were so mad was probably because I had asked them to reduce my hours to part-time.
Yes, you had, yeah.
And they did, and then they fired me a week after my hours switched to part-time.
Yeah.
Which is really messed up. And they made me wait a month and a half to tell me if I could switch to part-time. Well, okay, no, not part-time, because I was working 5 days a week, but only 6 hours a day so that I didn't get health insurance. So I was never full-time. So I'm sorry. I asked to work 2 days a week instead of 5.
Yeah.
Because I felt like that it was a television job. I thought I felt like I would be less fed up if I had time away every week, because I didn't hate the job. I just hated the piece of shit boss who had a real bad, complex. He once took me aside and told me, yeah, it's great that you want to make movies and everything, but you have to make sure you have something realistic to fall back on. Like, he's my fucking father.
Yeah.
And all I could think was, I was like, I wish you were my dad so you wouldn't be sitting next to me.
Thanks for listening. You can email us at thisshowis awkward@gmail.com or go to awkwardshow.com or whatever. See you next time.